week 4 NBA player development projection project update. The tasks for this week were to set up the K-medioids model for single seasons, build the K-nearest neighbors model for single seasons, and then test, analyze, and tweak the K-nearest neighbor model output. And then additionally to combine the K-medioids and K-nearest neighbor models. So I kind of misordered those tasks in the outline. The first step in this week was actually to combine the two methods, and then to build the K-nearest neighbors model for single seasons, then to test, analyze, tweak the K-nearest neighbor model output, and finally to set up the K-medioids for single seasons, or the combined models for single seasons. So where we left off last time, I had built the K-medioids model, which classifies each player in a position into a specific grouping. Next, what I did was I created a new data frame for validation testing. And what I did was I took a different season as the training. The training was done on the 2021 season, and the validation set is on the 2020 season. And as you can see, this builds out properly for the 2020 season. Next, what I did was set up the K-nearest neighbors model, which essentially takes the K-medioids data for the 2021 season, builds a train and test set on that season, and then what it does is it trains on the train set in this line here, in this line here, and then it predicts the y values or the classifications from the K-medioids model using the test data, and then it gives it a score based on how well the model does in terms of output. And then what it does is it takes the 2021 season, and then it uses the model that was, or it takes the 2020 season and it uses the model that was built on the 2021 season and predicts the classes for each player based on the outputs of the 2021 season. And I'll go into the results here. So this line, for example, is the accuracy of the predictions made by the model, and as you can see, there are examples in here where the model is not necessarily training better, and in fact is only predicting one class. And there's another example here where it's predicting multiple classes, and the training the validation testing accuracy is improving, so generally improving. So what this is saying essentially to me is that the model is overfitting to specific values, and that's been a bit of a difficulty as far as tweaking the actual model output. One of the recourses that I'm considering doing is increasing the amount of clusters, um, and tweaking other hyperparameters as well, and that should lead to more diverse set of predictions throughout the validation set. Um, so one of the issues with the k-nearest neighbors model was just the debugging of the actual code, and that took a pretty significant amount of time, so I wasn't able to get to um, tweaking the outputs for the model so that it builds properly. And then additionally, I still have these static years in terms of seasons that are being fed into the model, so I still need to set up the model for single seasons as far as um, inputting 2 different seasons and getting back this output. However, that should be relatively quick in comparison to actually setting up the model. So that's a general overview of the progress through week 4.